What's up, Northwood?
Hey, what's up, guys? John.
And Joe.
Or Joe and
John and
yeah, we
our names,
haven't
you
been
know our
getting
names
it
right
right. Quarantine brain. Hey man, it's Wednesday. Glad that you are joining in. Shout out to Safia, who is like always the first to join. You're awesome. Hey, we want to give some birthday shout outs.
We do.
Before we do anything else, because we've got some birthdays.
Quite a few of them.
I know, starting tomorrow, I think. Yeah, starting tomorrow, it's Brooklyn's birthday.
Happy birthday, Brooklyn.
Happy birthday, Brooklyn. And then we've got Lucas. Happy birthday, Lucas.
Happy birthday.
And Ethan, happy birthday. Ethan, happy birthday to Eli, and
What's
happy
up?
birthday to Jillian.
Yeah.
Other reasons to be happy today. It was the last day of school.
Oh,
right?
yeah. I totally forgot.
Unless you graduated from high school, today was the final day of classes.
You made it. Believe it or not, you actually made it all the way through COVID, through school.
I know.
Online.
It was weird. You weren't sure if you were going to show up online certain days, and some days you just didn't.
I know I didn't all the time.
Yeah.
But don't do that. I'm glad that you made it, though.
You made it. Now it's summer, and so it's going to feel a lot the same.
Yeah. Still going to be at
Probably
home.
not a whole lot different.
Still going to be on your video games.
But things are starting to reopen and regather. Northwood, for the first Sunday, is going to gather people in this sanctuary. There are scattered seats. It's pretty interesting to look around. But you can actually register with your family to worship on Sunday. We have 3 services, and we'll mention those a little bit later. But it's cool. That stuff is starting to reopen.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. Hey, before we
Different, but awesome.
I wanted to say something else. I just wanted to also give a shout out to all the people who are continuing to support Black Lives Matter and support anti-racism, and all of you guys who are, your passion is obviously coming out. And I've been admiring it and been encouraged by it and been humbled by it. And so I just want to encourage you to keep doing it, right? It's not a one-time thing. Loving people the way we're called to love people is not something we talk about once and we're good. We've got a lot to learn, a lot of ways to go. So keep going, keep it up.
Yeah, keep the positivity.
Joe, I just was checking out your shirt and thought, hey, it's kind of similar to mine. I like your shirt.
Man, your shirt is awesome too.
I know, it's cool.
It has the same like @ symbol. Oh my goodness.
It is.
Hey, by the way, we have a cool thing that's going to be happening this summer, and it's going to be amazing. Speaking of summer, speaking of positivity, it's going to be amazing. Yeah, if you didn't notice, we got our camp shirts on already. So
yeah, they came. You can check out the unboxing video that Joe and I put together with some of the cool stuff that you'll get when you register for Mix coming up beginning of July, and for Move coming up at the end of July for high school. So you're gonna want to check those out. So start registering now. You could even you could do that while you're streaming right now. You could just go to our website, use PushPay, and register. Make sure you ask before you use your parents' credit card.
Yes. Yeah. That would not be the greatest surprise for them. But
I know, absolutely. So I think we've got a giveaway, speaking of parents.
We do.
We do.
And it's for...
It is. It's Parent Edition. It is the weekly giveaway, Parent Edition. So we're going to give away... we're going to give you some knowledge. We want to impart something to you to make you a better parent. And so we've got these Sticky Faith books in the Sticky Faith series, which is put out by the Fuller Youth Institute. Shout out to Fuller, that's my alma mater.
Hey, hey.
And so you can stay up late and devour these books. We're going to give you some coffee from Phoenix Roasters. This is the coffee we serve at our coffee cart.
And from what I've been told, it's amazing. I don't drink coffee.
It is.
I don't need coffee. I'm already energetic. But.
I know, you probably don't. Anyways, so parents, you can be, in the chat and annoying your kids that way, in case you haven't been annoying them enough already. And we'll give these away to a couple people later. Cool.
One other thing that happened this week that kind of was a funny story. We had someone park their vehicle in our parking lot, and
I love when people do that.
And we call it,
especially without asking.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. And the best part about it was one of our leaders, and so we decided to prank a leader this weekend.
Absolutely. I think it's
And
always a good time to prank the leader.
I think so.
Yeah, not the youth pastor. Don't prank the youth pastor.
No, that's a bad move.
That's a bad move.
Because he comes back tenfold. But pranking a leader, that's what we had to do, and I believe we have a video.
All right, let's roll that video. That was awesome.
I totally thought there was sound to it,
though. You thought you were going to hear a bunch of little chipmunks talking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thanks to Dewey. I mean, I think we know. Anybody could guess who it was, probably.
Yeah.
So anyway, shout out to Connor and the crew for helping us cover Noah's truck in Post-it notes. So funny thing, Val had her high school girls small group. And she sent me a video. Let's just roll.
It was kind of sad.
Just roll. It was, made me laugh.
Here we go.
Is he really pulling it all off?
I don't know, but he just walked up.
Are you posting that?
So,
Dude, no, we love you. Sorry I couldn't be there to help you.
I will say that my small group guys were saints.
Yeah,
and
props to you, man.
And they ended up helping out. So I don't know what that says about the old middle school leader versus the new one, but we ended up. I'm just kidding.
Joe just cleaning up the mess.
We're just helping out where we can, so I can get more love. I don't know.
Absolutely, that was fun. That was definitely fun.
It was amazing. So,
all right, so speaking of fun, let's have a little bit more fun.
Yeah, let's do a game.
We want to play a game with you, and it is called Face Booty Awesome, and it's summer edition because guess what? Tomorrow
is summer
vacation. So let's play. We are going to play a clip. You're going to watch one of the clips, and then you're going to guess if the person in the video gets hit in the face, falls on their booty, or if it's just flat out awesome. And so you can just type face, booty, or awesome in the chat. It's probably the only time I'm going to tell you to write booty in the chat. So
yeah.
Go for it.
Hit it up. Just kidding.
Let's roll that clip.
Ooh, is he going to nail that front flip?
I just love that he's not wearing a shirt and he's not afraid of his non-tan. That guy is pasty white. All right. Oh man, what is he gonna do?
Is he gonna get hit in the face?
He looks pretty awesome. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and just say he's awesome.
I think he's gonna hit his face on the bar.
He's gonna break his face.
All right,
Like,
let's see.
it's
If
gonna
face
flip
booty,
and-
you're awesome. Oh, face.
Call, dude.
Didn't see the pool. Didn't see the pool coming. That's okay.
Was he trying to flip into the pool, I wonder?
It never. Let's
don't
just
know.
say when you get to be a certain age, just stop. Just stop trying
Yeah.
to do that stuff.
Connor,
I've learned.
remember that.
Just stop trying to do that stuff. All right, let's see what happens next. Ooh. Surfing is awesome.
It is.
It is pretty awesome.
Even if they biff it, it's still awesome.
It is. I'm gonna go booty. I'm gonna say surfboard goes out and just booty. All booty.
I'm gonna say face again.
Face again.
Yeah.
Face would be funny.
Yeah.
And painful.
It would be, but still awesome. All right.
Oh!
Oh!
Oh no! It was somebody else's.
Ooh!
Oh, he didn't even crash. It was someone else's board. That's terrible. Ouch.
That would hurt.
Yeah,
I'd hate to see his face.
Made my nose tingle a little bit.
Yeah. That
All right. Well,
spike
let's
to the face?
keep the carnage coming, I guess.
All right. Ooh. Oh, that looks fun. John, we should do that during summer camp.
I love that it says royal flush.
I'm
There
gonna
should
say
be
it's
a
gonna be
giant
awesome.
lever. I wonder if there's a giant lever that you push and then the people slide down. Face, booty, or awesome?
I'm gonna say awesome.
You're gonna say awesome?
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Let's go. Let's go awesome.
Let's go awesome.
Person lands it. Jedi move.
Booty.
Oh no, it was booty. They did.
She just like Gotta stay straight.
She just straight planked in the air. Just,
It didn't move.
I
but,
don't know. Maybe
all
she
right.
pa- yeah,
Hopefully
that
y'all
was-
got it.
that was-
So far, I am 2 of 3.
I don't know. I probably haven't
You're
scored any points. That's okay.
0 of 3.
I think we've got at least one more. Let's watch. That's it. That's all we got. Okay. Well,
Is he gonna
I wonder if he's going to
continue?
try to skimboard. You ever tried to skimboard?
I haven't. Have you?
Skimboarding, man, it hurts. You got like pack on the padding on your hips. It's painful. I'm gonna go face though. I'm gonna go face
You're
full
gonna
of
go
sand
face?
on this one. Yeah.
We haven't seen an awesome one yet, so I'm gonna stick it
I
out.
can't even tell if that's a kid. If that's a kid, it might be awesome. If it's an adult, face. all
I'm
the
gonna
way.
stick it out and say that it's gonna be awesome.
All right, let's find out.
Let's go. Dang it.
Yes.
Baseball.
Oh, ouch. Ouch. Oh, face all
Oh, look
the
at that guy
way.
go. He almost landed on him.
Oh, no.
Ah!
Face twice. No. Hey, Lucas, did that remind you of anything? Sorry, I couldn't resist, but yeah, good times. Ow, that was kind of painful.
Nose full of. Oh.
I don't know how, recover from that. Anyway, I don't know how you did in the chat, but thank you for playing Face Booty. Awesome. Oh, we do have one more. Never mind. That's why
Just
Jared's
kidding,
holding
we're
up his
still
finger.
playing.
We're still playing. We don't know what we're doing. Oh, that. Oh, do they flip? I'm going like flip and
Flip and land
face.
or flip and face.
Flip and face.
They've
There's
had-
no way they get full rotation. No way they get full
I'm
rotation.
0 for 3 for awesomeness right now.
Then go awesome.
We're gonna go awesome.
I hope it's awesome.
I do too. I hope every one of these are awesome, but honestly, I think it's probably gonna be
All
face.
right, let's find out.
Let's go.
Oh!
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah! You did it.
Let's
Good
go.
for you, whoever you are. All right, now, thank you for playing Face Booty. You're awesome. See you in a minute. Hey, what's up, guys? John. Glad to be back with you. We are in the last week of this series called Big Picture. I know it probably feels like we've been doing this for forever, because we basically have. I think this is like week 13, but this is week 5, our final week, talking about a guy named Joseph. Why is this called Big Picture? Well, because if we look at Joseph's life, we see his life was wild, it was crazy, it was unbelievable, it was full of all these ups and downs, good and bad moments. And through it all, though, even though Joseph couldn't see it, God was working towards something bigger, towards something better than just what he could experience in the moment. And that's so true for us. When we're in the middle of something, when something's going on in our life in this world, all we can see is just what is right in front of us. We're not thinking, oh, there's a bigger story, there's a bigger picture here. But God is showing himself to be faithful in Joseph's life, and I think he does the same for us. But before we go any further in the life of Joseph, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever tried to get a little payback on someone? You ever try to do that? You ever try to just get a little payback on someone? Like you're younger, you have a sibling, and they took your favorite sweatshirt, right? Or somebody spread a rumor about you, or you just have that one friend that always plays pranks on you, and you just want to get them back. Have you ever tried to get payback on someone? You probably have. I know I have. I thought I'd share some funny payback pictures. So let's take a look at these funny payback pictures right here. So here's a picture of somebody obviously dumped some trash. Somebody went through the trash, found an envelope with the person's address on it. I love it. What are they going to do with that address? Well, there it is. Go and dump trash in front of their house. How's that for payback? dump on you. All right. I think we got some more. There we go. Oh, even dogs get in on paying people back. So I read about this one, and the person who took this picture said that somebody kicked this stray dog, and so the dog literally came back with 2 friends and attacked this dude's car. That's even dogs get payback. Dogs are smart. I don't. They just are. All right, this next one is funny too. It kind of just speaks for itself, right? Those of you who are driving, please never park that way. If you do, if I'm gonna find you with the Northwood bus, and I'm gonna block you in. I love that. And this is probably my favorite because it involves a grandmother, and anything with grandma is funny. I love this. So grandma basically takes out an ad in a magazine and says, "Hey, I'm sick and tired of all you fighting over my money. I'm not dead yet, so here you go. I'm spending it by putting an ad out in every magazine I can find, and until all the money is gone, then maybe you can all stop bickering. Shame on you." Good job, Grandma. Way to get some payback on your annoying and greedy family. Look, we can all relate to wanting to get payback. Maybe not in those ways, but in big and small ways, we've all been wronged. We've all been hurt. We've all experienced that kind of frustration. We've all had someone do something to us or say something about us or treat us in a way that made us want just one thing: payback. We want the other person to experience what we did, to get what we did, to feel that pain, to feel that frustration. We want them to experience it. That's why we want payback. Here's the thing. We all have the power to pay back, right? Not just the potential, not just like, oh, maybe I can do it. No, we all have the ability to actually do it. And payback can look a little bit different depending on who you are. Sometimes payback is public. It's just out in the open. Maybe it looks like confronting somebody, right? Remember those days when you walked the halls of your school? Hope you'll get to relive those again soon, I promise. And it looks like just coming up and pushing somebody, starting a fight with somebody, right? There's some public payback. Or tagging somebody in a nasty post on social media, or just doing something to embarrass somebody in front of somebody else. I remember being in middle school and my friend getting totally pantsed. And I'm not talking just like gym shorts. I'm talking totally pantsed. It was totally embarrassing. For him, not for me, I laughed. Payback can be public. Payback can also be passive, right? Not so in your face, just a little less obvious, a little more behind the scenes, behind the person's back. Right? That's like spreading a rumor or rolling your eyes every time the person leaves the room, right? And the other person doesn't necessarily recognize it. They don't feel the pain immediately from it, but you are still getting the payback that you feel like you deserve to get. It's just a little more subtle. Now, this third way describes me. I am a lot like this. And sometimes payback is just in your head. It's not public. It's not passive. It's just something you think about all the time. You set up these scenarios for how you would get back. Oh, man, I can't wait to get back at this person. But you're never really willing to pull the trigger. You just get real creative with your thoughts. But it still satisfies that need that we develop to get payback. So which one are you? What kind of payback are you more likely to get? Public, passive, in your head? I don't know. You can share in the chat. But here's the point. The reason that we want to get payback is because it feels fair to us. Payback feels like something we deserve when somebody does something to us. We want it. But here's the thing. Even though it feels fair, it's not fair. It's not what's best for us. I think there's a better approach that we can take, and instead we can put down, set aside our power to get payback. We're going to look at a person who, man, more than anybody else could have sought payback, and that's Joseph. His story is full of people betraying him and lying to him, causing him years of pain and suffering, and he didn't even do anything wrong. Let's take a look back at Joseph's timeline. You might remember that he was one of a dozen sons, but his father Jacob seemed to love him the best. There's that colorful coat, robe that was given to him. It was that symbol of his favoritism. right? Set up this awkward family dynamic. And then his brothers, they get so mad, in part because Joseph tells them his dream, hey, one day you guys are going to bow down to me. How about that? And so they get mad at him. They end up throwing him into a well. They want to kill him, but they're like, oh, well, we won't kill him. So they sell him into slavery, into Egypt. And then he's actually doing good enough. He's working, and he gets promoted in the house of this guy named Potiphar. He's in charge of everything in Potiphar's household. And remember, Joseph's a pretty good-looking dude. Adam used some weird term a couple weeks ago to describe him. I don't know, kind of dated Adam in years. But the point is that Potiphar's wife was all into Joseph, and she was like hitting on him and trying to hook up with him, and he was like, no, I can't. I don't. And he turned her away, and so she made up some big lie, got him thrown in prison, and that's where he stayed. That's where he stayed for several years. Can you imagine just like stewing on everything that happened to him until ultimately he gets out of jail. He interprets this dream for Pharaoh, gets out of jail, gets promoted to second in command only to Pharaoh. Now, I want us to just put ourselves in Joseph's sandals for a minute. I want you to think about what would be going through your mind during all those years of slavery, separation from your family, being imprisoned. You might be thinking, I can't wait to get back then. You might be planning something big and how you would do it and how you're going to get your revenge and how you're going to pay them back for every horrible thing they did to you. Let's take a look at Joseph's story and find out exactly what he did. Okay, so at this point, he's doing so much better. He'd been released from prison. He'd been elevated to second in command over Egypt. Pharaoh put him in charge of distributing food, which was a big deal at the time because there was a famine. And so this shortage of food was so bad that people who were traveling from all over the place, all over Africa and the Middle East, coming to Egypt to try to get some food so that they wouldn't starve. And they had to go through Joseph to get that help. Now check this out. Out of all the people in the world to show up wanting food, who shows up? Yeah, Joseph's brothers. Joseph's brothers, so the same guys that sold them into slavery years ago, right? Like, what are the chances that they finally meet up in this position? Now, Joseph immediately recognizes his brothers, right? They didn't know who he was because they thought he was dead. You know, they thought maybe he was dead, or if anything, like, there's no way he could make the move from being a slave in Egypt to being this powerful guy that's in front of us. And yet there stood Joseph in this position of power and authority before his brothers, right? And they were in this position, this posture of needing his help. They needed him to save their lives. Now, remember weeks ago when Joe talked about that dream, right? That dream that Joseph had in which all of his brothers bowed down before him. And what an opportunity now Joseph has to get payback. He could get the ultimate payback. He could pay them back 100 times over for all the horrible things that they did to him. Right? In the moment, he had to pay back all of those wrongs. He could have had them kicked out. He could have sent them away without food. He could have killed them if he wanted to. Let's take a look at what happens, though. Joseph could stand it no longer. There are many people in the room, and he said to his attendants, "Out, all of you." So he was alone with his brothers when he told them who he was. Then he broke down and wept. He wept so loudly the Egyptians could hear him, and word of it quickly carried to Pharaoh's palace. "I am Joseph," he said to his brothers. "Is my father still alive?" But his brothers were speechless. They were stunned to realize that Joseph was standing there in front of them. "Please come closer," he said to them. So they came closer. And he said again, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into slavery in Egypt. But don't be upset, and don't be angry with yourselves for selling me to this place. It was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives. You can live in the region of Goshen, where you can be near me with all your children and grandchildren, your flocks and herds and everything you own. I will take care of you there, and there are still 5 years of famine ahead of us. Otherwise, you, your household, and all your animals will starve. What? Seriously, Joseph? That's how you respond? God was involved in all this. God put this together to get you to this place. Isn't that amazing, the perspective that Joseph has in this moment? Right? When he could have literally done anything he wanted to his brothers. He could have left them to starve. Right? He could have thrown them in prison. He could have found a well and thrown them in the well, and nobody would have batted an eye. But instead, he took a different path. He chose the path of forgiveness. I think that's amazing. And I think it was probably amazing for Joseph's brothers too, who are on the receiving end of this grace, right? One minute they find out that their brother that they thought maybe was dead or a slave somewhere is actually alive, and he's a super powerful person. And then the next minute, he's actually embracing them rather than giving them what they probably carried in their heart, all this guilt, and they probably felt like they deserved payback. Here's what I think we can learn from this part of Joseph's story, is that when you can't see the bigger picture, choose to forgive. When you can't see everything that's going on, when it doesn't make sense, you can choose to forgive. I mean, that's the example, the powerful example Joseph gives of how we can deal with people who wrong us. We might not know why they did it. They may never apologize for the hurt or the embarrassment that they've caused. There's details of the bigger story or the bigger picture that we may never know, we may never understand, but we still have a choice: forgiveness or payback, right? We have the power to choose one of those. Think of it this way. If you're in a relationship with another person, right, which everybody is, it could be a parent, it could be a friend, a sibling, boyfriend, girlfriend, doesn't matter, anyone. There's something that connects the two of you, right? There's like this bridge, but when somebody wrongs or hurts you, right, that bridge is suddenly broken. It's shaking. The connection between the two of you is damaged, disrupted. And so you're left with a choice. Do you just tear that bridge down and burn it all up with payback? Or do you do the really hard work of building it back up, establishing that connection again with things like forgiveness and grace and peace? Now, I absolutely believe in what I'm saying, but I want to be really clear. Something I'm not saying. I am not saying that you should continue to rebuild a relationship with people who consistently and deeply hurt you. People who repeatedly do this over and over without any regard for you. I'm not saying that you should continue to pursue rebuilding that relationship. Sometimes the best way to choose forgiveness is to actually set really healthy boundaries to protect yourself from experiencing some of those same things again. And it can be a little bit tricky to navigate that, so I encourage you to talk to somebody. And a great place for you to start is to talk with one of your small group leaders. And if you say, oh, I don't have a small group leader, then I want to encourage you to get plugged into a small group. All right? Reach out to one of us so we can help you get connected with people who will walk alongside of you in whatever you're going through. See, we have an opportunity to lay down our right to pay back and instead to choose forgiveness. Now, you might be thinking, okay, how do I do this? This sounds great. I agree with you. I want it. I want to choose forgiveness. I don't want to be the person that's always trying to get payback. But how do I do that? Well, that's a good question, because this is hard stuff. This is by no means easy, all right? And it doesn't necessarily get a ton easier as you get older unless you take some steps. So here's a couple of steps that you can do. The first is just to start small. When it comes to choosing that path of forgiveness, laying down your what you feel is your right to get payback, start small. Right? Like somebody's making fun of you, they're teasing you, but that actually gets through, right? It actually hurts your feelings. Or your sibling, right, eats that last piece of cake or pie or the last scoop of ice cream. You're like, oh, I was going to eat that, right? You want to turn into a rage monster. right? Or your parent lashes out at you. Maybe they had a really rough day and you were like the straw that broke the camel's back, and then they just let you have it, right? In that moment, you can choose to get payback, and you can just tear down the bridge of that relationship. Or you can choose to forgive, to identify, speak up, speak the hurt, and choose to forgive. See, the more we do that with everyday things, small things, the easier it is to do that with the really big things. And so I want you to be the kind of person that starts small, but then also forgives first. Be the kind of person who forgives first, right? So think about somebody who's wronged you recently, somebody who's done something and hurt you, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Look, you don't have to wait for them to apologize before you can forgive them. That's what we do, right? We always want to wait for an apology because we think we're not supposed to give anybody anything that they haven't given us. Yeah, that's a value in our world, but that's not a value in God's world. See, we can choose to forgive somebody even if they haven't apologized. We don't have to wait for someone to make the first move and say sorry for what they've done. See, that's the beauty of forgiveness, is that you can do it on your own right now. You can make that choice so that you can start to move on to a healthy place instead of holding on to it. So start small and be the kind of person that forgives first. Look, this is hard. This is hard, but here's some good news, okay? Is that we have a God who is the best at forgiving. Did you know that? God is the absolute best at forgiving. He has forgiven each and every one of us for everything. He has made forgiveness possible through His Son, Jesus Christ. And we can receive that forgiveness if we will just be open to it. If we just ask God to forgive us. For some of you, that might even be your first step, because maybe you've never done that. You've never invited God to forgive you and to become a part of your life. And talk to an adult around you who is a believer, who knows Jesus. If that's something that you want to do, drop a line in the text, and we will definitely connect with you and talk you through what that looks like. But see, God has forgiven us, and He wants us. He's created us to forgive others. And when we ask for help in forgiving somebody, I think He gives it to us. I think He gives us extra strength through the Spirit that lives in us to forgive in times when we don't want to forgive. I know that I've experienced that. People that have hurt me over and over again, and I don't want to forgive them again. But I can continue to choose to forgive them because it's part of my healing. And so start small, forgive first, and invite God to help you in this process of forgiving. And ultimately, just remember that when you can't see the bigger picture, you can choose to forgive. You have that choice, the power to make that decision. Joseph couldn't necessarily see the bigger picture all along the way, that God was working in his life. And so he had to keep trusting God. He had to keep believing. He had to keep making the next right choice, make the next best choice with the wisdom and discernment that he had. And see, and eventually, years later, in spite of everything, in spite of all the bad stuff, things were made right. And he saw that bigger picture. He saw the reason why he was in Egypt. And so I think the same can happen in our lives. And so as we close this conversation about Joseph and how he forgave his brothers, I just want you to think about this question. What is the hardest thing about choosing forgiveness? We each have our own thing we struggle with forgiveness. So for you, what's the hardest thing about choosing forgiveness? Let me pray for you. God, I do pray for each and every person who's watching live or who will see this later, that first and foremost, they would receive your forgiveness and begin that relationship with you, and that you'd help them to identify what is keeping them from forgiving someone that they need to forgive, so that they can move on in a healthy way, so that it wouldn't hold them back any longer. Help us, God, to resist that temptation for payback. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Oh, that was a good message.
Thanks,
I like
man.
that. Forgiveness is always, It's hard. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's hard. And I think for me, one of the hardest things is forgiving the small stuff. Like, because you can easily brush it off, but then you get to the point where if you don't forgive the small stuff, like then all of a sudden it like weighs you down, and that's where you get that last bit. And so I think like that's probably like, it could be the easiest step, but it's also the hardest thing, just because it's like you forget about it, and then all of a sudden it like comes all crashing down. And so
it just like builds up. It's like you store it up, but you thought you dealt with it.
Yeah,
I get that.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
And I also like the fact that you mentioned small groups, because especially right now we were all online, but now we're back in person, so it's even easier to be in small groups. It's easier to come in, and most of us are meeting in person now, so it's perfect. So
absolutely, yeah. Make sure, like I said, that you find a way to get plugged in if you haven't. And I know some of you have been reaching out, and so we're doing our best to make sure you get into the right small group.
And if you have our numbers, text us just to let us know, because we know that we're not reaching everyone. We know that we're not talking to everyone, so we don't want to forget you. So if you have our numbers, text us. If not, you can also email us too.
Most def.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I think we got a little promo video for camp. We just want you to know, hey, tomorrow is like the start of summer vacation, and we want you to know that there will actually be a really fun summer. So check this out.
Here we go.
Got the green light, no more red lights. Got the green light. I'm ready to go. I got to go. I'm gonna tell you all about it. Watch me now. I'm ready to go. Look out below. I'm gonna show you all about it. Watch me now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Dude, I want to mix it up at Mix.
Yeah. Sorry.
Can I come?
I mean, I would like you to be there. That'd be
Sweet.
That'd be
I'll
great.
Be there. I'll be there.
I wish we had something that said mix and move, but sorry.
That's okay.
It's all about mixing it up right now,
That's
bro.
okay. Mix is coming up first, so you need to get registered if you haven't already.
The 9th through the 11th of July.
That's right. So I know some of you registered for Tadmore, but we need to know if you want us to transfer that money over to Mix. So make sure that you do that. Also,
the last day to register is June 21st.
June 21st. Yeah. June 21st. That's in so many days. June 21st. Make sure you register by
Is that a week?
then.
2 weeks?
I don't even know time right now.
I didn't even know today was Wednesday.
I really don't. Okay, I want to invite you to continue to follow us on Instagram if you're not already. And also check out...
And make sure it's the trees and not... There is another Northwood youth out there.
Yeah, don't follow the wrong Northwood youth. Ours is Northwood Youth Ministry. So
I did that when I first started.
Follow the right one.
I'm still getting information
from them. They're not as cool. Just kidding. They love Jesus too.
Yeah.
But they're far away from here.
Yes, so trees.
Yeah.
Northwood Youth Ministry.
Also, hey, church is happening every Sunday. So if you didn't register to show up to the sanctuary for one of the services,
that's okay.
That's cool. Check it out online at 10 o'clock. And if you sleep in, which let's be real,
middle schoolers, high schoolers, even me.
Yeah.
I don't like I don't like waking up early.
It replays, okay? It replays again. So check it out at one of the later times. But don't miss out. Stay connected.
It's so good. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we also have a couple winners.
We do have winners. All right. Okay, so I'm going to summon the winners. Liz, can you please just import them into my mind? Okay, here we go. Oh, I think I got one. Send the other one. Send the other one. Got it.
Sweet.
Got it. All right. All right, so our winners are, drumroll please, Melissa Bigler, and I believe your mother? Is your mother's name Chris?
I hope not.
Is that your dad?
That'd be my dad.
Okay. Well, I've known some women named Chris.
That is true, but I think,
I didn't know your dad watched. I thought it was just your mom, so that's why I said that.
Okay.
Sorry, Dad.
He's probably laughing at home right now.
Well, Chris Dyer, you're a winner too.
Here we go.
So
you get a book and some coffee.
You get a book and coffee. Yeah.
That is great coffee.
Yeah,
and a
the
great
book
to
is
read.
sticky, the coffee is not. and they will be yours.
It'll be great. Hey, I'm John.
I'm Kevin Hart. Just kidding, I'm Joe. And hey, if you like this video, even if you didn't, and Finn, I already know you disliked it 1,000 times, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, because we're going to continue to post content, and we'll see you next week.
And if you don't like it,
no, we'll see you in a small group.
If you don't like it, hit that unlike button twice.
There you go. That works
Here we go.
too. All right, peace.
Y'all have a great day.